right. I.
Hey.
Woo! It is Saturday.
It is Saturday. Welcome to another awesome episode
Of
Not Your Typical.
Hey.
And I should be putting the hey.
Why can't I see myself? Can you guys see me? Can you guys
What's
see
up,
me?
girl?
I can't see myself, but I can see you guys. Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Yes, we see your beautiful face, gorgeous.
This
How
is
are
weird.
you?
As long as you guys can see me, that's all that matters.
we see you, try.
We can see.
And we
Okay.
are loving what we see.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
We can see your beauty.
Stop.
How's it going, girl?
It's Saturday. You guys look great. Kirsty, I'm loving the vamp look. There's a bit of vamp in there, and then you've got a little rock and roll there.
I know. This is a very fall look, but I'm feeling it.
Why not, right?
You know?
Sadly, we're getting close to fall, so we might as well.
Girl, put that back inside. Put it back in. Put it back in.
Girl.
Okay.
Anyways. Woo! What a week.
What up, girl? What a week.
Listen, this topic is, listen, Linda, okay?
Linda.
Listen, Linda, this topic.
Yeah, we are really, these days, it seems things are moving so quickly that, you know, we have to keep on sort of catering the show to the latest things because things are just moving so closely. You know, we have the pandemic, which should technically be slowing things down, but it's actually allowing things to be a bit more hyperactive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're talking Joe and his hoe. Now you hear a topic like that and you think, Joe and his hoe, which Joe? Joe? Like, who's Joe? And who's the hoe? And who's the hoe? Right. Well, this is about Joe Biden, the Democratic nominee for the President of the United States, and Kamala Harris, who apparently is his hoe, who is running alongside him as Vice President of the United States. Now, last week's topic, which was another topic within itself, where we talked about WAP and Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B and what that's doing. And it was so interesting because, of course, you've got Black women on that side in people's mind because they show their bodies and they're very open about their sexuality and sensuality and what they want. They are classified as hoes, right? They're hoes. Cardi was a stripper. We go through the Amber Roses of the world and the Black Chinas and, you know, ho.
Right.
Now you've got an accomplished, you know, I'm going to put it in brackets, an accomplished, professional, esteemed, educated, intellectual, intelligent, all of the words that you can think about of Black excellence in Kamala Harris. And you've got the President of the United States, the current President of the United States, Mr. 45, Mr. Don, as Garcia likes to call him, Don. You've got Don calling this Black woman a hoe.
She's a hoe. And his wife isn't.
So, yes, this is what we are talking about today. And, you know, and I know we brought it up on the show before, and it's something that I like to bring up all the time, which is it doesn't matter what, as Black people, what we accomplish. We can come and solve the key, you know, healing factor for cancer. We could give out the potion of youth so that no one ever dies, and we would still be considered bottom of the barrel, the garbage underneath the trash can. And this whole entire thing is just an example of that. We have a woman who is, I mean, she's only 55 years old, and the amount of things that she's accomplished, the amount of corporations that she has taken down as a lawyer, and the amount of things that she's just done, not only as a lawyer, but as a philanthropist, as a, you know, as a mom, as a stepmom, as just a woman of color, and what she does in her immediate local community. She is really someone that you should look to and say, wow, this is what we need more of in our communities. We need women like this. But again, this is an example of, I think that we've been seeing this for weeks now. We've been seeing a lot of women of color and Black women sort of being put down. If they're talking, there's some governor or some senator that's like, oh, please sit down and shut up. Or they start talking over them. Like, it's been kind of building. So I think that hearing that Kamala Harris is being considered a hoe is actually not shocking.
It's not.
Sadly, because of our society. And the idea that, and you know, just to clear it up, we are not saying that Megan Thee Stallion or Black China or any of these girls are hoes.
No, we're not.
We're not saying that. No. But it's funny that it doesn't matter what you do. You're damned if you did, you're damned if you didn't.
Thank you.
So it's like, okay,
Thank you.
Cardi B wakes up tomorrow and decides, I'm not gonna be a rapper anymore. I'm gonna go, I don't
into
know,
politics,
into
because she's
politics.
very much, as you know, well versed.
Her and Bernie Sanders.
They're like this.
You know, she
good friends.
interviewed him. You know, she put on her conservative outfit and went and interviewed him and did a very good standout interview with him about his policies. And even in doing that, we are still saying, well, she's a hoe because she has a tattoo on her thigh.
You know, it's just sad. But you know what's also cool? That she doesn't give one butty lip what they say about her.
At all.
And I love it. Like, let me think about the word hoe. Now, maybe back in the 1950s, that would have affected a woman badly. But now it's like, well, you're a hoe. It's just like, and?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the worst you can say about me?
The genius of our community is that we do take words and we can
just turn it.
You know, we did it with the N-word. We've done it with, you know,
the word bitch.
Like
we're like,
bitch,
yeah, I am a bad bitch.
You know, thug. Words like these, we've taken these and said, well, in our world, you know, even the word fat, you know, we spell it differently. We're a PH. That, like, thick is now good. I'm a thick sister. I'm a thick girl. All the plus size women in the world, regardless of their race, are now saying, oh, well, I'm tick. And, you know, so we are we take words and we make them cool. Like, that's what we do. That's just a part of what we do as creators. We take things and we make it cool. And hey, if I'm there having a casual conversation with my girlfriend and I'm like, Kimala, yo, she's a straight up boss. She's a straight up, you know, that hoe, I ain't messing with her. She's a boss. Okay. But the idea that you have taken
the president,
right? And unfortunately, Don, number 45,
y'all.
He is not a good example of really any kind of decent human being. Yes, I said it. And
you're only speaking the truth.
I said what I said.
You speaking the truth.
He has no bridle, on his mouth, and he just says the stupidest things. And we have to remember too, Don is a misogynistic bigot. And racist.
And pedophile.
Yeah, yes. And he, you know, if he said these horrible, nasty things about Hillary, then what did we expect him to say about Kamala Harris?
Preach. He's putting down his own white women.
He has a history.
No one is safe.
He has a history of calling women
nasty,
this, that. For years, even before the presidency, he's been very vocal about hating on women.
Remember the whole fight he had with Rosie O'Donnell?
Yeah,
like he's petty. He
called
person.
George or one of the Bushes, the Senator Bush. He called his wife ugly. That was his comeback. Oh, well, your wife is ugly.
Your wife is. He said it about one of the running mates while he was running for president.
Cruz.
Yeah, I think it was Cruz. He said his wife was fat, or he calls people. He like makes fun of mentally challenged people. Like, the man is trash. So Kamala is just like, you know what? I don't care what this man
Yeah,
says.
and I'm not truly
That's
shocked
the only word he can say?
that he said that about her, because this man has never truly said anything good about anyone that doesn't make him money.
That's it.
Here's the problem with Don is he has influence that's so far reaching. And for the people who are watching or who will watch later, if you have a chance to watch our promo video, which was created for this, you will see a number of images that were put in the promo video. But of course, the most disturbing is this image of Kamala looking as if she's giving fellatio to Joe Biden, right? And of course, there's the T-shirts, Joe and his hoe. All of these things that were created to the point where Amazon had to take down these marketplaces because people were selling T-shirts saying Joe and his hoe to a woman who, I may add, actually doesn't even have a child of her own.
Okay.
Right? She's a stepmother to her husband's children, but she herself has not. She didn't go out there and have a bunch of babies. She didn't. You know what I'm saying? She in all. If you look in the white person's dictionary of how to live your life on the straight and narrow, Kamala Harris would probably show up because she's done the right things. Her mother was a scientist who was trying to cure cancer. Her father was an engineer from apparently, which we'll get into, Jamaica, who we're not slaves, and we'll go there. But she comes from good breed of a good breed of people, right? You got two smart people. She came and she went through everything that she needed to do to be a good Black woman. So if you looked at good Black women, Kamala Harris would probably be one of them, along with Michelle Obama and a few others. Oprah probably wouldn't be there because she's got a checkered past. But for the most part, these Michelle Obamas, the Condoleezza Rices, the Kamala Harrises, they are good Black women. So you've got a Black woman who's gone through all of the steps that white society says this is what you do to be one of us. And she accepts the nomination as Vice President of the United States, and she is now a hoe.
Yeah, it's a problem. Because she is no longer in her lane.
Yep, everyone was fine with her when she was a senator. But as soon as she went to a different lane, all of a sudden she's a hoe. Well, they're sleeping together. Like the amount of crap that you read on the big old toilet, aka the internet, you just want to turn it off and say, you know what?
And I do want to mention too,
so disrespectful. It's just rude and
and I wish to be honest, I wanted to look more into this, but here in Canada, for instance, right now they're having a nominate. They're trying to nominate
for the Conservative Party.
Yeah, Conservative Party.
And one of the women, well, the only woman running is a woman of color, a Black woman.
Find that.
And she is highly decorated, y'all. Again, this is a woman that went to law school, took down huge corporations, took down people that are basically evil.
Yeah.
And she is a standout person. She's actually, on paper, she is the most fit
Leslyn Lewis
for the job. Leslyn Lewis.
Yes.
She has more to her name than
the
any
other
three candidates who are white men. One of them, who me and Tully were like, he has a beard. Are they thinking that
they're trying to
mess with all of us?
They're trying
Justin Trudeau party.
They're trying to young up their party by getting some allegedly good-looking guy with a very skinny head who's
a child, a picnic. Like he looks like a child, and you're not trying to have him run no political party.
Girl, a little louder for the people in the back.
We have our own sort of Kamala Harris story going on here. Now, from what I've seen, I don't see people outwardly making gifts and creating logos of her.
No.
Going down on, I don't know, Justin
Andrew
Trudeau
Scheer or Justin Trudeau
or
Andrew Scheer. Yeah, we don't see any of those animations happening.
Dr. Leslyn Lewis.
She's a doctor. She has a doctorate, everybody. So the thing is, what I find, though, as a Black woman, again, we're dealing with stereotypes and biases that have been set up from hundreds of years ago, and we still hold them true. And people think Black women aren't well-spoken. Black women don't do politics because they aren't smart enough. 3, Black women don't know how to dress conservatively, so they can't do anything. And even when they dress conservatively, their butts are too big. And because their butts are big, it means that they're promiscuous.
It means that they're
and
hoes.
all they do is run around and have sex with faceless people. And they are just all about getting that queen. And they don't care about they don't value themselves. That is what is being taught in society every day, subconsciously to us. Like, every movie, every TV show, the media, it's literally pumping.
That's so true.
That is the story.
Remember Halle Berry? The only time she got an Oscar was when she played a
Was when she was naked.
The only time
and
that Denzel Washington, the first time he won an Oscar, was for Training Day, where he played a thug cop.
Like, so, it's celebrated that we are bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
So when we have a person decide, I'm gonna do something different here. I'm going to run for the power. I'm going to make a power move and get a role in leadership. Then it's different. It's a different thing.
Different game then, baby.
People have turned it into a sense that, well, again, and we're going to talk about this, they've just discounted her Blackness because of who she is. Like, we're almost saying that you're not Black unless you grew up in the poorest part of the urban city that you live in. If you didn't grow up there, you're not Black. And you guys know me. I always say it bothers me when Black people start to discount Black people of their Blackness. Do not discount their experience because they did not grow up in the ghetto, trench town,
everybody's different.
Whatever you want to call it. Why are we discounting her because she dedicated her life to her education and then became a senator? Why are we discounting her? Because her being Jamaican isn't Black enough. Having Indian blood in you isn't Black enough. Like, when are we going to stop this? It happened with Barack. Everyone was asking we need to see, well, it was Dawn who was asking for it.
Dawn was asking.
Your birth certificate. And it's like, just because his father's from Kenya. So because his dad's from Kenya, there's no possible way that he's American?
Exactly. That's it. And that's the thing, too. I know for our people anyway, you're so right. Like, we're so quick to revoke people of their Black card. The woman's Black. I don't care if she can't recite every line from Boys in the Hood. I don't care if she can't sing every Whitney Houston. Who cares?
And if you can recite it,
well, good for you.
You're spending your time doing the wrong thing.
Good for you.
Listen, I grabbed my laptop so I could read that quote that I read to you ladies, but when I find it, we're going to talk about it. But, what is interesting is Don is doing the same thing to Kamala as he did to Barack, right? He's asking whether or not she was born in the U.S. Like, this is his goal. It's what he doesn't recognize, and he's speaking to his people. You're Black, you can't be from here, right? Like, we need to question, because if to make America great again is to make America white again, and therefore you're questioning any Black person who's in a position of leadership is if they belong, right? So you're looking at a woman and asking her, do you belong here? Wasn't she born in Cedars-Sinai Hospital or something?
She was. In Oakland, California. Yes. The woman's American. But you know what? When he shows his tax papers, then everyone can say, okay, so show your damn tax papers.
Yeah, when is he gonna show?
Show your tax papers. You're a thief.
Show your financials.
Show them. Show the receipts. So everyone's been asking him for the past who knows how long, how many years.
Listen, it is so I am just, when you guys told me about this Joe and his hoe, because I have been purging myself as much as possible from all of this news, because everything is just too much. And you guys, and I think I stood and sat and looked at you guys through our video call, like.
You know what's funny? I have a photo too that I took. I gotta find it.
Yeah.
I was just so. Listen. listen, it as a Black woman, it is so crazy.
Oh, here it is.
It's with my face.
I don't know if people can see it, but
I was confused. I was very confused.
Right?
Distraught
Very
is
distraught.
a good word.
Like, it was disturbing. It was
a good word.
Distraught.
I mean, you know, we are looking at, again, the idea that people are getting so shaken up and excited about someone that's of mixed race is very disturbing to me. It's kind of showing me where we truly are in the world.
We've gone backwards.
We have a very long way to go when we're going to start discounting people and say, I don't care if you were born here, you don't look like us, so therefore you're not from here. Even though you probably fought for our country.
Girl.
There are so many Hispanics and Blacks that have fought in wars, lost limbs, you know, went through it and are still considered to be not American or not American enough. And it bothers me because it's showing that America, the world, we all have a long way to go. Because why are we looking at someone and saying that you don't fit, you know, so please leave? You know, and then the thing is, okay, fine, leave. You go, you put on your onesie, you start singing WAP, and then you're still told you're trash.
You have a medical condition.
You don't belong. And,
dangerous medical condition.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no
escape
from the judgment.
We are trapped.
There's no escape from judgment.
We're trapped.
Even though just a few weeks ago, everyone was on the street protesting about Black Lives Matter.
Even today, I saw it on TMZ, and I'm sure Sean King had it on his Instagram. I'm not sure of the details of it, but even today, like a cop shot at a Black man who was just walking away from them.
I'm sure he did.
They just shot him dead.
So
it was like, okay, so
like, yeah. I mean, and again, the idea that she's a woman. We saw what happened last year when Donald Trump, or not last year, 4 years ago when he won the presidency. Women had to take to the streets and protest, you know, the whole Me Too movement situation. All of that stuff went down. And regardless of the protests, regardless of all of that, Dawn was still sitting there saying, y'all nasty.
Nasty.
And we can grab you by the pussy. We can grab you by the pussy. You know what's so interesting is that when we, you know, because, again, we if you've not watched the show before, you watch it for the first time. All three of us love Black AF, right?
Girl.
And
I'm dying for season 2.
we love us a Black AF, and we're eagerly waiting season 2. Yeah. But if you've ever watched an episode, and Kenya Barris says it over and over again, and we've said it on the show, all of this is rooted in slavery.
Yep,
okay?
slavery.
It is rooted in slavery. You have to understand what is so interesting and dynamic about this. And it goes back to even last week's show where we talked about the backlash that Megan Carty got about the song WAP, right? Mm-hmm. Think about the fact that 600, 500, 400, 300, 200 years ago, slavery was abolished, and I put that in quotation,
right,
1865, right? We're going to go with 1865. It was abolished. Lincoln wanted to free the slaves, which we have not been free. Free yourself from mental slavery, Bob Marley, right? But we go back and you think about, 500 years of a Black woman's body being used only as a vessel to bear children.
Yes.
You understand what was happening? Like, let's really rewind this for a second and take a step back, because we got time. We got about 35. We got time, okay? So think about, as a Black woman, we are 3 Black women. Our bodies were used as a vessel for children, not because we were there to nurture them, but because we were creating workers for the plantation.
That's it.
So you had Black men who were breeders.
Yep.
And Black women who were carriers of life only only for the reason of the white man needing more bodies on their plantation.
Right. That's it.
Okay? So again, you're looking at 1400, 1500, 1600, 1700, 1800 into probably the 1900s of women's bodies being used as vessels only, whether it was consensual sex between them and their, partner,
right,
or they were being raped,
That's
right?
right.
And it's so interesting that there is almost a glorification of a relationship like Mr. Jefferson there, Tom, okay, with Sally Hemings, as if she consented to being his concubine and being raped, right? There is this love story that people want to create. Like, no, she was a slave and she was raped by this man, right? So, it's funny how they can even change the narrative of that. But that's what a Black woman's body was used for.
That's right.
So we have, what have I given you? About 500 years, and it probably goes, but we'll start with when, they went and brought us over, which was in the 1400s,
right,
to 1900s, right? So about four to 500 years of our bodies simply being used as vessels. And now we're in a space where we want to take and reclaim that power. Yes. If you have not been put in a position where your body was simply used for a vessel, you have to understand this is carried from generation to generation to generation. This is still within our minds.
Right.
So a Black woman's body being used as vessels for breeding strong Black, and they wanted male because the male, they wanted to be out there and pick the cotton. Everything needs to be done. Yeah. So you're breeding Black women for hundreds of years only so that they can create these lives. And now Black women want to reclaim our bodies. That is what WAP and all of these women who go out and say, I want to reclaim my sexuality.
That's right.
Because I was used only as a vessel. My body was seen only as producing. And this is why if you go back even to, look at our grandmothers or great-grandmothers, the multiple kids they had, that's because that was ingrained in us from slavery.
That's right. It's true.
Whether they could afford it or not, a lot of the times it was, again, it became generational. You saw the great-grandparents, they had these multiple children because they were used, again, on the plantation, right? So a lot of this stuff is wired in our brain from slavery. And when we want to reclaim our bodies, we're hoes. We do the right things. I've searched pictures of Kamala. I've never seen her in an outfit that's even remotely sexy that I would ever wear.
Thank you.
I get to find that outfit.
Her entire lifestyle has been dedicated to being in politics.
That's it. She always dresses her power suit.
Yeah, it's almost like she was groomed for politics. Yeah. You know what I mean? She is literally, a person that knew exactly what she wanted to do from the time she knew she could do something. This is something that she wanted to do. And, the idea that we look at her and literally because she is not Caucasian, we are looking at her and saying that she is not worthy of the accolades that she carries behind her name, and she is not worthy of being vice president of one of the most powerful countries in the world. That is what they're saying.
Yeah, that's basically it.
And that's fascinating because, again, you've mentioned she's 55 years old. Let's take the fact that she had to go through years of elementary school, middle school, high school, university for your undergrad, post-grad, all of these, the law school she had to go to, then she had to do her articling, then she had to earn her accolades, then she had to become partner, then she had to be, what was she, district attorney at one point? But she had to go, and as a Black woman, who's this, right? Yes, her mother is Indian, and we recognize that her mother comes from India, and her father is Jamaican, and we'll go to the fact that they said they're no slave owners, right? She is visibly to the eye, and that's what people are all about. They see what they see. To the eye, Kamala is a Black woman with nice hair, right? That's how they're going to look at, that Black woman with nice hair. So as a Black woman who had to go through the struggles, regardless of her home bringing, it doesn't matter how much money her parents had, the struggles of being a Black woman who's going through all of that and creating this path for herself is difficult. She's probably had sleepless nights, nights that she's cried, times she's wanted to give up, people questioning whether or not she's good enough, her questioning imposter syndrome. Like, we understand because we've been through the corporate world and risen through the ranks and understand what you mentally and emotionally go through. And I'm nowhere near where Kamala is in terms of, you know, being established. So imagine taking what we feel and multiplying that twice or three times. So this woman dedicates and does her life, and they take all of that, and her being vetted, let's not, again, she was also would have been vetted and everything that they probably went through to vet her. And you take all of those years, and in one moment, someone turns around and says, let's forget all that shit, she's a hoe.
Yep. Just like that. All the years she spent busting her ass, crying tears, blood, sweat, and tears, all of that is now pushed to the side just because Joe Biden chose her. She wasn't even asking for it. She was very happy being a senator, going around her merry way. Someone asks her, hey, do you want to be my vice president? Sure. And because no one else would dare go against her because they know that she's that bomb, the dude just hit down the gravel and said, yo, you're it, chick. You are the one. She accepts the nomination, and just like that, everything she worked hard for, all the what do you call them now? Diplomas and congratulations, all this just smeared away. Just because she's a black woman.
I mean, being a senator,
it's horrible, man. Like, what the hell?
Being a senator in itself, as we know, is not an easy feat. You go into a room and you sit down with a bunch of other highly educated people. The majority of them are white males that have done very well, are rich, come from rich homes. And you have to argue your case with these guys. And you can't cry about it. You have to show up and you have to get into your masculine energy and really own the room. And to do that repeatedly, she looks, first of all, she looks great for 55.
She sure
because
does. Most
people that have to go through that sort of trauma every day don't usually look that good after a few years. They start to look like trash. So good for her that she looks the way she looks. Amazing. Good on you, girl. But again, we are discounted because, again, apparently we're in a place where we're not supposed to be. And like, we are not, we are only supposed to follow. We should never lead. And
that part,
you know,
that part,
you know, like even, and this is what has, and I don't want to use the word scared them away because they weren't scared. They just didn't want to put up with the BS. And that's, you know, Condoleezza Rice, Michelle Obama, women like that who were overtly capable of running for president, vice president, but chose not to because they knew very well.
They knew what they were going up against.
They knew what they were going up against, and they're like, do I really feel like doing this again?
You know what,
Nah, I'm going to go sit down. Because Condoleezza Rice is, again, accomplished. And people were like, yeah, why don't you? And she's like, no.
They were exhausted. Like what you were saying just now, like all three of us have been in boardrooms with white men to plead our case, no matter what it is, being shut down, being ignored, being spoken over. So we already know what it's like. Much more Kamala and what she had to go through. And the fact that she still said, you know what, yes, I will take this position, knowing that the stakes are only going to get higher, it's only going to get harder, but she still said, you know what, I'm going to do this. And on the flip side, too, I don't blame Condoleezza and I don't blame Michelle Obama. Because I was the same thing. I'm like, I'm time out. I'm exhausted
I would tap out.
enough as it is as a black woman. Breonna Taylor's killers are still out there. Black women are the most hated thing on the planet. It's hard being a black woman. And we've been talking about this all the time. Waking up being black, it is not easy. And here you have a woman who's saying, you know what? I'm going to stand up for my black sisters and I'm going to win this for them.
And she's a hoe.
And, you know,
but
too,
it's exhausting.
And what I want to say, too, is that the woman I was speaking about earlier was Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, who, you know, she was Congresswoman, the youngest, which is also an issue.
It's an issue.
Ageism is a thing.
It's a thing.
And being, you know, even a black woman that appears younger
Thank you.
It's an issue.
Thank you.
Even if the black woman is 55, but
Still
she
an
looks
issue.
like she's 35, there's an issue, right? And she was basically told to shut up and sit down.
Yes,
Even
she
though
was.
she had every right to speak, it was her time to speak, and she was basically told to sit down. And, you know, would this have happened to even a Latino, like, would it have happened to a man?
No.
Who's Hispanic?
No.
No, they would have never told him to sit down. Like, so, you know, we're breaking it down not only as women, but women of color.
Yeah.
Black women. You know, there's that sort of
It's a whole category.
tier. Yeah, it's a tier of like categories. And for Kamala, again, highly declarated, probably, well, we know already she's more educated than Dawn.
Curse ya!
She's more educated than
A 2-year-old is more educated than Dawn.
She's
A
more
turtle
like she, you know,
is more educated than 45.
you know, but again, you know, we are looking, look, like Barack Obama went to Harvard on a scholarship, which we've been talking about this. This is not an easy feat.
No.
It is not.
People just don't get up and say, well, I'm going to go try out for that Harvard thing.
No.
Like,
This is not America's Got Talent.
right. This is not American
Right?
Talent. You know, Lionel Richie and Katy Perry aren't going to come out and be like,
This is not American
you're
Idol.
going to Hollywood. Like, this is not that.
You're going to Harvard.
Yeah, this is not happening. This is not a reality show, Dawn.
But he thinks it is.
You know, like, the idea that he went to Harvard on a scholarship as a poor, mixed kid
Girl, preach.
with a single mom who had to work 2-3 jobs, and he went to Harvard. Like, come on,
She died
y'all.
early, too.
Come on, y'all. You think that's an easy feat? You want to
Girl.
discount Barack Obama?
And he does.
I know. Well, he does because he's an idiot.
Because he's
But
a jerk.
I have a better education than Dawn.
First,
Like,
everyone has a better education than
the
Dawn.
man didn't finish school. So,
He did not.
you know, and
Did not.
And
Preach
when
it,
they
yes.
go to his schools and
Preach.
ask how they were like, he was not, like, he did not
He was
pay
a horrible
attention in school. He
student.
was a horrible student, did horribly. He was not disciplined. Like, if he was black, people would be like, yeah, of course he's black.
Oh, girl, you know this. You
But-
know this.
But because of that privilege and because he was blessed enough to be born into a rich family that had already established themselves with old money, you know, he's been going through life on a cloud, like, and thinking that cheating is the only way you can succeed and you should win at any cost, even if it means spreading hate, spreading division, which
moving
is,
mailboxes.
yeah, which he's pretty amazing at doing. So, you know, and then we look at someone like Kamala, who it's like, she is so declarated that I would leave my children with her. I'd be like,
Oh,
yo,
absolutely.
you can babysit my kids.
They'll only come
I
back.
don't know you.
They'll let smart
Yeah,
out,
they'll
like,
probably come back smarter than me after an hour with her.
girl.
So, you know, and I do want us to touch a bit on, and I'll go there. I'll ask you guys the question.
Please, come. I'm ready. 20 minutes.
Do you think that there's always been a stereotype that Americans don't actually, Americans, specifically Black Americans, aren't too much for Black Caribbeans?
True.
Because they're like, you don't understand
true.
our experience.
It's true, though.
Now,
It's true.
a lot of them, I've seen it on YouTube, I've seen it in tweets and things, that Kamala doesn't speak for us because
She's from,
of the Jamaican thing.
I've heard it from even Black people in the States where a lot of
these
them
are all Black people.
say,
This is a Black thing now. White people haven't been saying this. Black people have been saying this.
even, like, rewind a bit. Like, let's remember the Chris Brown and Rihanna situation. A lot of Black people took up for Chris Brown, and they said about Rihanna, well, quote unquote, she is an island girl. You know how those island girls stay. They're hot-headed. She must have been the
So they
reason
deserve to get
why Chris
beaten
Brown
up.
got upset. They were rushing to Chris Brown's defense.
Yeah. So my
Like, this is
question
just
to you both is Kamala not appropriate to be the first Black VP simply because her parents aren't Americans
Oh, Lord Jesus.
or whatever, Black African Americans?
Let me tell you something. Because quote that I read to you guys, but let me tell you something. I think it is absolutely ridiculous that the sentiment is that because her father, because, you know, there are the black people saying it, and then there's the Fox News pundits and whomever saying that her father is Jamaican. Then they specifically said British Jamaican, which is whatever, right? Her father is Jamaican, right? Okay. So, you know, her father, there was this quote that her father had written an article, and they took the article, I'm sure, out of context. I went to read more of the article where he talked about, you know, being descendants of slave owners. Black people, we are all descendants of slave owners.
Okay.
Our mothers, grandmothers, listen, our great, they were raped. Okay, a lot of us do not understand our history. Some of us, like I myself, just learned more of my history in this last year. I am the descendant of slaves.
Yeah, we all are.
Okay? I mean, let me tell you this, right? And I always say to people,
the slave owner, not the slave, the man who owned the plantation.
The master. Right? You know, we were talking about this, and you know. And I say it all the time. I laugh because I'll meet people and I'll be like, yeah, my name is Carcia Campbell. And they'll say, and, you know, blonde, blue-eyed Joe will say, hey, my name is Joe Campbell. And then he's like, you know, and then we'll be like, ha, 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 that's funny. Because we know exactly how I got my name.
Slave. You're the daughter of a slave.
There were no black people on that boat named Campbell. Okay.
Or
the only Campbells that were around were Scottish, fair-skinned, red-haired men.
Masters.
My family comes from Jamaica. And here we go. Here's a history lesson. Has anyone ever gone and really read about what happened on that adorable little island of Jamaica?
I don't think they know, girl. You gotta educate the people.
People don't know what happened as to how a bunch of black people ended up with the name Campbell. Because one of the most successful slave owners on the Jamaican, at the time, the Jamaican plantation area, one of them was ding, 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 ding.
Campbell.
Hanover.
That is why so many Jamaicans are named Campbell.
Or McDonald.
Like, these names run deep in Jamaican. Like, you can find about 300, like, black Jamaican Campbells. Why? Because it was a powerful major slave operation in Jamaica. That's how we got our names. We are all descendants of
slaves.
Okay, so it does stop it. I'm sorry for you. You need to go.
You just got a wake up call.
Please go Google. Like, all people have to do is Google, right? Like, the reality of this idea that as Caribbeans or living in Canada or whatever, we somehow are immune to racism or the idea of slavery. Did they think that all the slaves that they brought over, they just dumped them into America? That is ridiculous.
That's also
like,
another
can't happen.
One of our watchers here says, have no clue. That's the problem. We have no idea what our real image. We've been told lots of lies. And that's true.
That's
true. Now, a lot of us are now only learning what our lineage is.
Absolutely.
I know for sure that there was no tribe called Campbell in Africa. And I know that there was a slave owner of the name Campbell with a brother, McDonald, and they were all chilling in Jamaica, making loads of money off of my great grandfather and my great grandmother.
They took them from West Africa and bring them to Jamaica. Okay.
So this idea that, and you're so right, like a lot of us don't know our lineage, right? And that's the reality. I'm telling you, like, literally a few months ago, this is a funny story, and this tells you sometimes how disconnected we are from, you know, ourselves and who we are. So I had put up a post, and it was a simple post, and it was a post before I had cut my hair, and you know, I had, you know, my hair looks beautiful, and I made a comment about, am I mixed, right? Yes, and my cousin jumped in, and she's like, but of course you're mixed. And I'm like, huh? Like the way she said, and my cousin is like, she's from my dad's side. Her mom happens to be white from England. And of course, there's my uncle, right? So what was so interesting is I came to find out that all of these years, I'm 40 years old now. So at 40, and I knew that I had Indian and all these things in my family. At 40, she was like, do you know that our grandfather was half white? I had no idea. So our grandfather was half white, making our fathers a quarter white, making me 1/8 white. And we are German. Like our lineage comes from St. Elizabeth, Jamaica, and we're German. And I am pretty sure that my great grandmother wasn't necessarily having a relationship with the white man who was my great grandfather. Like I'm gonna go with that. Probably wasn't what was that they were having some romantic relationship. I will find out when I go to St. Elizabeth, Jamaica, but that was at 40, you know, and people always, you know, because, you know, in our community, you've got such nice hair, you have to be mixed. I'm like, I'm black, you know, Angela Davis putting up my fist, I'm black.
Right.
Only to be like, okay, well, maybe I'm not that as black as I thought I was. Well, you know, because again, we don't know our lineage.
Right. This is why a lot of Africans make fun. Well, they don't make fun, but they are quick to let us, you know,
school you,
to school us, kind of northern Canadian, American, English blacks to say, look, you don't understand. Look at yourself in the mirror and then look at me as, you know, as a Nigerian, as an Egyptian. Do we look like we are related other than our skin tone? What is going on here? You know, and the thing is, in order to progress, you have to be aware and admit it, so then you can progress. And the truth is that, you know, really, I would become Dawn and ask to see, you know,
your birth certificate.
Well, not your birth certificate, but maybe a DNA test, because the majority of us all sitting discussing this,
that's true,
all have different races, different nationalities in our blood. We do.
Okay. So to look at a woman, and here's the thing, and before I say that statement, to the world, and to the world, I mean white people, okay? Yeah. To white people, we are all the same. In a matter where we come from, okay? Exactly. They don't care which part, where our ancestors were dropped, what island, which state, they don't give a crap. When they see black, they see black. And therefore, the black experience is universal.
That's right.
Okay? Because the hatred for us as a people is universal. Okay? And so therefore, looking at Kamala, and saying she doesn't speak or she doesn't understand what it means to be black and deal with black issues, you have to take a pause and think, this is an indictment on the American education system.
It sure is. It sure is.
Well, definitely. I mean,
Absolutely.
Okay, let's look at it like this. And this is controversial. This is a controversial thought, but I'm going to say it. America's only admitted to like slavery actually happening like not too long ago.
Actually,
they've only had that museum for how long now? How long has that museum been?
Not very long.
Since Obama in his first term of presidency.
Yeah.
Like it hasn't been there long. As in where places like Germany, who admitted to slaughtering Jews, they have been talking about it for like whatever 80 years. They've admitted, yeah, this is what we did. We committed genocide. We killed a bunch of Jewish families. America still won't fully on admit that they enslaved black people.
Girl.
So that's the first issue. And they're not teaching it. In fact, they're banning
They want to
books.
ban it because on CNN they did an article. I think it was Don Lennon. He was talking with someone, and yeah, they're trying to pass a law. They want to ban even teaching about slavery.
Yeah, To Kill a Mockingbird is very controversial. It's a great book.
It's a good book. You should read it.
Parents, if you know if your kids aren't allowed to read the book, go find the book and let them read it.
Find a PDF version.
There are lots of schools in the States that have banned that book.
They're gonna ban more. You know, they don't want America to have that kind of picture.
Right. They don't want to paint a picture of basically genocide of a nation.
They want to scoop it under the rug. They don't want anyone to see that they murdered and slaughtered hundreds
And
thousands.
even here in Canada too, you know, a lot of us are now just learning, you know, about what's going on in Newfoundland and what was happening there when slaves left the U.S. and came here, what happened to them and how they were enslaved for a time in different circumstances, in different ways.
Right.
But the whole point is that these pieces of history, it's only coming to light now. The world is now collectively decided that, yeah, we're all racist and we need to unlearn so we can relearn. This is the 2020 message. This is the message
it really is.
And the revelation of 2020.
Unlearn
that racism
to relearn.
exists. That is what it is.
Yeah.
So all of us walking around thinking that, oh yeah, it's like, no, you don't understand. It's just now.
It's just now.
It's just now that the world has decided that they had a problem with race.
And the Black experience is the Black experience. Done. Sorry to cut you off, Kelly, but the Black experience is the Black experience.
No one is walking around saying, well, that person looks 3 parts Dutch, so I won't follow them around the supermarket today. Listen, you could be Alicia Keys. You could be Oprah. You could be Lupita. You could be Viola Davis. You could be Lenny Kravitz.
You could be Slash.
You could be Slash. You could be Mariah Carey. It doesn't matter what level of blackness you've got going on. They're very quick to remind you that you're
black.
They're not looking to see what percentage.
Blackity black. And you're right. Once you're mixed, you're black. That's how, because again, and we're going to talk about it even on next week's episode, about it's what they see is what they see. Yeah. So this Black experience is not just about when you're in the United States. Anywhere we go in this world, we are Black. You see Kamala, it don't matter if her mother came from India and her father is from British Jamaica and descendants of slave owners. It doesn't make her any less Black. Or if somehow she missed the Black experience, she grew up primarily in the U.S. except for a small stint in Montreal. Shout out to Canada, right? Right? So, but again, her Black experience in Montreal, in Quebec, would have probably been because Quebec is racist, right? So, at the end of the day,
let me know. Canada is racist. People seem to forget that Canada has racial issues.
Canada has racial issues too.
Sunshine and lollipops here. Like, no, it's not.
Canada has racial issues too.
We got our racial issues.
Specifically in the school system. Probably more than any other system.
Girl, that's like an episode in itself.
The school system probably has it more than even like per se like normal day-to-day society's neighborhood system.
1000%.
There's loads of racism in the school industry, specifically the Peel district,
Peel board,
where we all live. So there is an issue, and again, and I've met Black people that said, oh, well, you don't know what it's like to be African American. And I'm like, okay, just because I'm not American doesn't mean I'm not. No one is walking around here saying, oh, I don't know what race that girl is.
I'm Black. No, and that's true too. How come no one said, look at that Irish English girl? Oh, look at that half Asian, half white. There's either Asian, white, Chinese.
People are just looking for the closest denominator and they estimate. So, you know, if you look white, you're white. If you look Indian, you're Indian.
That's it.
If you look Black, you're black. That is just the way it is. So rather than walking around and trying to be like, oh, well, I'm actually this and that, it's like, listen, sis, don't waste your time.
Don't waste your breath because no one cares.
You're Black. No one cares. You
save the titles for something else.
Yeah.
You're Black.
Because you're Black.
Point blank.
And you're Black, and you're Black, and you're Black, and you're Black. And you're Black is the Black and the Black. And you're right. Even he's saying, even in Jamaica, and thank you, even in Jamaica, the school system is not providing the truth to children. And what's funny is recently in Jamaica, the High Court said that they're going to ban locks. How are you going to ban dreadlocks in Jamaica? And the problem is that sets a very dangerous precedent for the rest of the world, specifically the very racist United States of America and Canada, to be able to do the same, because they've been doing that in school systems, especially in the South recently, where a young man was forced, he was told he couldn't graduate unless he cut his locks, and he did not cut his locks. So for Jamaica, where people think Rastafari came from and locks came from, to think that the High Court in Jamaica would take such a stance, I am saddened and disgusted by it, because the precedent is set, right?
First of all, it's a hairstyle that is done in worship.
It's a religious hairstyle.
It's a religious hairstyle. But what I do want to do too is remind people that, listen, and this is for all religions out there, watch, because if they did this for locks, what are they going to do about hijabs?
Oh,
what are they going to do
for
about
years?
hijabs?
The ones have
they're going, like, eventually they're going to strip people of everything that they believe. This is just a sign. This is a symbol of what is going to happen. Oh, I'm sorry, your afro is too Afrocentric. Please go put on a weave. Now, I know, I'm wearing a fly wig.
Yo, let me tell you something though. I love my hair. I love my wig.
Right, but I should have the right. I should have the right to rip it off and walk into my workplace or my school with my fro if I choose.
Absolutely.
And that's the point. The point is they're taking away choice.
And no matter, and we've got only a couple minutes, but you know, it's, again, we're going to go back. I'm going to quickly go back to Kamala. Kamala did all of the right things, right? In white world, in white society, she got the education, she got her accolades, she got, if we probably go in her house, the amount of awards and plaques and everything and the accomplishments that she's done, and still in a second she was diminished. And so we have to honestly, and Karsi, you've asked this question over and over again, how much Black excellence do we need in this world before we're considered equals? How much? And the problem is, and I'm going to go to what Kevin's saying here, but Jamaica is also still controlled by the Queen. So even if we look, whiteness is embedded in all aspects, right? Be Black. Exactly, right. It's ingrained in all aspects. It doesn't matter what island you're for. The idea of whiteness is ingrained because, again,
I do want to leave this theory too, to let everyone know. Remember, it is so instilled, whiteness is so instilled in our lives, in our workplaces, in everything, that if we're not careful, which a lot of us actually are, a lot of us actually do carry inner racism for our own. Oh, and a lot of us are actually misogynistic. A lot of us are bigots. A lot of us don't want a Black leader because we don't want Black to lead. We want to see what we're familiar with. What we're familiar with is an old white guy with white hair and leadership. Exactly. So don't just, I mean, I'm always going to be here to tell y'all the truth.
Yes, you are.
You know, don't sit here and say, oh, you know, yeah, this white person said this and this white person. I'm like, listen, Black people, a lot of it is us. It's us telling on ourselves. It's us telling on ourselves.
So in light of the time, I'm going to have us, because Instagram usually doesn't want us to be great and cuts us off. So we're going to do our takeaways for the day, starting with Karsia.
So my takeaway is that we need to push for more women like Kamala, more men like Barack Obama, and we need to stop discounting their Blackness. We need to look at them and say, this is what we need more of. We need to celebrate them and support them in any way we can, so that our kids can see that they will be supported when they choose to make that leap and become leaders in this world.
I like that. My takeaway is, yes, to celebrate Black excellence. And, you know, don't revoke someone's Black card just because they may not be as Black to you. They're Black. And they should be celebrated in whatever they're doing. Support Black all day, every day, but no matter what time of the day. That's my takeaway. Bars.
My takeaway is try to show up as your authentic self as much as you possibly can. And I think often we're so stripped of who we are because of this idea of trying to fit in. And one of the things that I've been doing is trying to be my authentic self as much as possible. Because again, you look at Kamala and she did all of the right things. And in a second, in a moment, she's become a meme where she's literally sucking a white man's dick.
Yep.
That is like that's what I'm going to leave you with. The image that people have put out gifts of this very accomplished Black woman sucking a white man's dick to get her nomination. So anywhere you can, show up as authentic you, because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And so that is the end of our show. Next week's topic, quickly before Instagram cuts us off, we are going to be talking about the Masai Ujiri incident and the fact that the reality of this whole Almada department, who apparently thinks we can't believe our own eyes. We just see the video and we're believing lawyers. So we're going to be talking about that issue next week. That's also going to be a very interesting topic. And if you're Toronto, if you don't know, Nick Nurse is the coach of the year.